Hello all, today I am going to discuss about the probability sampling methods. First of all, the definition of probability sampling. Probability sampling is a sampling method that involves randomly selecting a sample or a part of the population that you want to research. It is also sometimes called random sampling. Then probability sampling is a technique in which the researcher chooses samples from a larger population using a method based on probability theory. Next, I am going to discuss about different probability sampling methods. There are several probability sampling methods. The first one, simple random sampling. Second one, stratified sampling. Third one, systematic sampling, and the fourth one, cluster sampling. First one, simple random sampling. Simple random sampling gathers a random selection from the entire population, where each unit has an equal chance of selection. This is the most common way to select a random sample. To compile a list of the units in your research population, consider using a random number generator, which means in this sampling method, each member of the population has an exactly equal chance of being selected. This method is the most straightforward of all the probability sampling methods since it only involves a single random selection and requires little advanced knowledge about the population. Because it uses randomization, any research performed on the sample should have high internal and external validity and be at a lower risk for research biases like sampling bias and selection bias. Second one, stratified sampling. Stratified sampling, also known as quotas random sampling, is a probability sampling technique where the total population is divided into homogeneous groups. We call these groups strata and they complete the sampling process, which means stratified sampling refers to random sampling techniques that clubs items of whole population into different groups called strata based on their similar characteristics. Then samples from each stratum are taken whether proportionally or disproportionately. Third one, systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is a probability sampling method where the researcher chooses elements from a target population by selecting a random starting point and selecting sample members after a fixed sampling interval. Which means systematic sampling in which researchers select members of the population at a regular interval determined in advance. If the population order is random or random like alphabetical, then this method will give you a representative sample that can be used to draw conclusions about your population of interest. I have given an example in the PPT. As we have seen, in this case every second person is systematically selected. Next, I am going to discuss about cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is defined as a sampling method where the researcher creates multiple clusters of people from a population where there are indicative of homogeneous characteristics and have an equal chance of being a part of the sample, which means cluster sampling is also a probability sampling method or technique where researchers divide the population into multiple groups or clusters for the research purpose. So the researchers then select random groups with a simple random or systematic random sample method or technique for data collection and unit of analysis. So that's all about probability sampling methods. Thank you.